The NBA season is off to an exciting start, with young players having breakout seasons and veteran players turning back the clock to show us they've still got it. Amidst all the terrific competition, there's 4 players I'm watching closely who are on pace to do some historic things. I understand it's early in the year and we're only roughly 10 games into the season, but with that being said, every historic season has to start somewhere, so I think it's worth hyping up the starts some of these players are having. So let's get into it. Number 4, Andre Drummond. With the injured absence of Blake Griffin, Drummond has had to carry a heavier load for the Pistons, and that's exactly what he's done so far to an incredible extent. Most of us already knew heading into the season that Drummond was the best rebounder in the league, but what he's doing so far this season is on another level entirely. Drummond is currently averaging 21.2 points, 56.8% shooting, and a monstrous 18 rebounds a game. To give you an idea of just how impressive this is, no player has averaged 18 rebounds for a season since the legendary Dennis Rodman did it in the 92-93 season. That's 27 years ago. Dennis wasn't much of a scorer though, which Drummond is doing very well this season. The last player to average over 20 points and 18 rebounds was the legendary Elvin Hayes, who did it in the 73-74 season at a time where high rebounding numbers were much more common. For most players nowadays, a 20-20 night is a big deal and is seen as the highlight of their season, but this year for Andre Drummond, it's just another day at the office. If he continues at this rate and finishes the season with numbers like these, it will be one of the greatest seasons for a big man in NBA history. Number 3, Luka Doncic. He's quickly becoming one of my favorite players in the league. Luka is having himself an MVP caliber season as a baby-faced 20-year-old in his sophomore season. Luka is averaging 27.7 points, 10.8 rebounds, and 9.1 assists on 48% shooting. He's just short of averaging a triple-double, and I understand completely how the game has changed and how stats are inflated for star players nowadays. With that being said, there's still only 2 players in all of NBA history who average a triple-double over the course of a season. Despite the thousands of players who have come and gone from the NBA, Oscar Robertson and Russell Westbrook are still the only 2 players to ever do it, and Luka is flirting with it. Here's a thought that sounds crazy, but the more you think about it, the more you realize how valid it is. Luka Doncic may be the greatest 20-year-old NBA player that we've ever seen. Seriously. Jordan, Chamberlain, and Bird weren't even in the NBA yet at that age. Magic Johnson won Finals MVP at that age, but he wasn't dominating throughout the year. Magic only averaged 18, 7, and 7 as a 20-year-old. Kobe wasn't nearly that good at 20, even though he was in his 3rd season. He was averaging just 19 points and 5 rebounds. LeBron James is probably the best argument, and he was averaging 27, 7, and 7, which is still dwarfed by Luka's numbers so far. Not to mention, Luka's game just appears to be way more polished at this point, with his incredible court vision, ball handling, and ability to hit clutch shots. I know the word scary gets thrown around a lot when referring to a player's potential, but it couldn't possibly be more fitting for Doncic. The reality is, the kid is an MVP caliber player right now, yet theoretically, he still has another 10 years of development ahead of him before he should be in his prime. That's insane. Number 2, Devin Booker. I gotta say, it's fun to see the Suns finally being competitive again. They're currently at 5-3, and Booker finally has some quality talent around him. He's also having the start of a career year, as he's averaging 25.6 points, 5 assists, and 3.5 rebounds. The area that he's really standing out this year is in terms of efficiency. Every year of his career so far, Booker has improved to be a more efficient shooter, and this season is his greatest improvement yet. And if it continues, he will be in elite company. The 50-40-90 club is an honorable achievement that's been accomplished by only some of the most efficient shooters in basketball history. It means a player shot 50% from the field, 40% from three-point range, and 90% from the free throw line. In the history of the NBA, only 8 players have shot 50-40-90 over a season, and those players are Larry Bird, Reggie Miller, Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki, Malcolm Brogdon, Steph Curry, Mark Price, and Kevin Durant. If Booker can continue his play so far, he'll be joining that elite company, but it gets better. In the history of the NBA, no one has ever had a 50-50-90 season, but that's what Devin Booker is doing right now. He's shooting 52.9% from the field, 50% from three-point range, and 92.3% from the free throw line. Do I think he'll keep it up? Probably not. But if he does, going by the numbers, it will be the most efficient shooting season of all time. Number 1, James Harden. James Harden is a monster of an offensive player, and according to his general manager Daryl Morey, he's the greatest scorer of all time and even greater than Michael Jordan. So far, Harden is averaging 37.1 points per game, which would be a career high, but it's historic for a whole separate reason. Harden is doing a lot to get his 37 points a game. Right now, he has the second highest usage rate in NBA history at 40.6%. Harden is also shooting only 39.4% from the field. In the history of the NBA, there have been 71 times a player has averaged 30-plus points per game over a season, and of those 71 times, only one time did a player shoot below 40% from the field, which was Allen Iverson in the 01-02 season. If Harden continues at this pace, not only will he be joining Allen Iverson, but he will have definitively the most inefficient 30-point season in NBA history. 37.1 looks great at face value, but how you get it matters a lot too when it comes to winning basketball. Let me know in the comments section which historic start interests you the most, and let me know what other historic developments you're keeping an eye on. Make sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.